All right. This is really going to be an incredible thing, and thank you for tuning in to Indian Trace. Take a look at this and listen to this for a second. I've had some requests come in over and over and over about the quartz that's here in eastern North Carolina. And I've shown some basic, in general, mix of quartz points. But today, what I did, and taking a look at this selection as I zoom in on this, we're going to look at some of this closer. But today what I did is decide to assemble some of my very finest, at least what I consider workmanship of quartz. Well, this crystal got in here just because it's crystal, but some of the other pieces that we're going to see here are just some of the finest workmanship of quartz that I've found. Quartz crystal, smoky quartz, vein quartz, you name it. Look at this point though. It's worth another look. Unbelievable, right? But here on Indian Trace, I also like to make sure that we stir ourselves up for the appreciation for the North American Indian and the people behind these. Incredible stories. I've been learning some things about the Ute Indians and their conflicts with Mexico, 1500s and early 1600s. It's been amazing. This point's on here because it's the very first arrowhead I ever found. I thought it was a piece of glass out in the woods when I was running, and I said, my goodness, is it true that you can find these things around here? And then, make a long story short, that was 3 years ago. And look at this. My focus seems to be, that's a circle of life right there. I mean, really. Wait to see the workmanship on this. And with all of this here that we see, natural light's working real good. The atlatl weight that a lot of people have seen and asked to see a closer up of some of the workmanship on it. I think it's some type of quartz material, but I'm not sure. All coming from here. On cold, frozen snow, stand down for a lot of us. As you can see, it doesn't look like this box is exhausted at all. And I pulled out all of these right here. I pulled all of those out from here. And for those of you who are new, thanks for the subscribers. For those of you who are just curious, this is the way I keep them organized. Where do I start? My goodness. I'm going to start on the outside line here and just go up and believe my time. I'm just going to go through them real close up and let you see what I think is some of the most extraordinary workmanship of quartz, that I have. Maybe not that that you guys have ever seen. You find some incredible flint and what have you, but this is all quartz. The workmanship on these pieces is really just exceptional. And a lot of it, I'm just going to let the pieces speak for themselves. And if I don't think you can see it real well, I might give it a little flip or what have you. But I also want to stay conscious of my time because some of these things are just masterpieces in themselves and worth probably more time. But I wanted to give all the shout-outs out there and the requests to see some of this stuff a fair shake, This is one of the early points that I found right here before most all of this stuff. More recent triangle point. Worked off on every part of it. Look at that piece. And you're going to be blown away too. I'm absolutely blown away. This video is probably going to take just a little bit longer, maybe 10 or 11, 12 minutes or what have you. But look at the workmanship on this stuff. And you're going to see the great contrast. I mean, look at this. And for the nappers out there, I know you'll get a lot out of this because you've tried to nap quartz or you've heard about it, and it is definitely difficult. All right, let's go down here to the serrated pieces. Yeah, this is a bigger piece. I mean, look at this thing. I'm not going to pick too many of them up. That's a big, flat-out lance point. Look at the workmanship on this. This was an early find at W Properties right here. It is tapered on the back. Slight relief, but the workmanship, if hopefully the light's good for me here, that is just incredible. This piece is just so unique. Don't really think it's a drill. I think it was designed to pierce and drive straight through vitals. Look at this thing. Can you imagine? So across the country and all over, if you like quartz, you sure probably get a charge out of this, because I just went through and decided, okay, in this bin I want to see what's extraordinary. And a couple points that pop out and say, now that is phenomenal. This one I actually found 50 yards off my back fence in my backyard. Can you imagine? Here's a great point from B&B Fields. That day I remember I was happy. I found a great hammerstone that day. And then this smoky quartz serrated is second to none. Second to none. Something else, right? I'm going to go up to the side here and look at some of the bigger stuff. All this stuff is well over 2 inches. Look at the workmanship on this blade, though, for quartz. This is unique. I've never found anything like this over at Saponi. I'm just going to trust my time will be okay. This is not broken off the base. It is relieved and worked completely. It's one of my favorite colored pieces of quartz. Is this piece. It was just sticking up so proud when I found it just like that, you know. Hoping the base was there, and it was. It's worked. It feels smooth on the back. Just look at this. Great piece, right? Just like gemstone, this quartz. Look at this. This is really going to be an overload for those of you who don't find quartz or love quartz. Because, I mean, my mind's blown away. This quartz is just here, and they were masters. They flat out figured out how to handle and work this stuff, which is so hard and resilient. And I'm sure it did the job it needed to. Nice point. And I got a circle of life here that I go around, and I'll go up to the top. Now I'll go up to the top last. Let me go start at the bottom and go clockwise. This recently found at the Archaic was a smoking point. All the 3 inches. I think my shadow's doing something there. I want to get the natural light. Can you believe this stuff, you guys? I mean, unbelievable. Now, I'm actually envious, and I see a lot of the flints and the colored flints that a lot of you find. You know, down in Louisiana, they're finding this brownish, reddish flint that's just awesome. But then they shout out and say, you know, I don't find any quartz. Or I hear somebody say, this is the only quartz point I've ever found. And I'm like, oh my goodness, are you kidding? And so I just wanted to be able to put this stuff up to show you what is my most extraordinary quartz work that I found. That's a fabulous point right there. Everyone in this circle is just fabulous. Look at that. I am watching my time at the same time to try to figure this tour out, hoping that I'm going to loop it all in and it won't cut me off or anything. That's a great point right there. I found that down at Saponi as well. Here's a wicked point. Look at this thing. And shout out to Rob. If you're studying this stuff to try to start to work it, this will give you a good video to check out styles, I guess. And look at this Guilford straight base. Very rare out of quartz. That's a good 2.5 inches right there. Point from Notchville. Alright. I'm seeing an end. I don't want it to end. I mean, I take time to look at this stuff and set it up just so across the country you'll be able to see what the Indian trace was here. Predominantly use of quartz in North Carolina. Of course, there's rhyolite to speak of for sure. This is a piece of smoky quartz with just an incredible piece right here. I mean, I'm so thankful. So thankful. I do see the different types of stones across the country and the size that comes from places like Missouri and Tennessee. It just blows my mind. But, you work with what you got. Richard himself said, wherever you live, you sort of got to work with what you got and go with it. And that's what I do. Look at this piece. And you get a good setup of your most special material and work. It just, restores that thankfulness. And then across the top here, let me show you these. Of course, some of these guys have seen, but they're just worth, if you're a new subscriber, seeing some of this. Talk about a Yadkin, right? I mean, can you even believe that? Workmanship, right? Let me push the finish here. Hidden Hill right here. Friend of mine's property. That's a smoking little piece. Every inch of these are worked. And then this is just an incredible point. One of my favorites. They did in quartz is incredible. That's vein quartz. Anyway, to finish us off, Indian Trace, they were masters of quartz. Masters of quartz. It's just unbelievable. Excuse me while I get those organized. Now, this, I think, and some guys have told me that they think this material is a type of quartz. But look at this piece. Again and again, I've handled it. It's nice and heavy. You can see the work on it. Banner stone, right? Sure, it's taken a couple hits over a couple thousand, 2, 3, 4, 5,000 years. But it's not going to take any more hits, you know what I mean? So, some offers for this, and some people wanted to see it, so I figured I'd put it back up with my quartz. I do not know positively what type of material it is. It's smoking, no matter what. So I'm appreciative for it. Just goes together with everything, Right there, back to the beginning. Whew. That is extraordinary quartz. Let's pray for the spring to come soon with heavy rain.